Clubhouse chatter continues. Here's Norm Ordez.
That's right, along with Joe Piazza this morning. And,
What's going on, Norm?
Joe's filling in the seat quite well. And our next guest, the last of the day, is Dave Bristol, former Cincinnati Reds manager, and he was also a player manager at one time.
Player manager with the Reds.
Dave,
minor leaguers. Yeah.
Dave, how you doing?
Okay.
How's the weather out there? Last time I talked to you, it was a little bit dicey.
Well, it's fine today, about 73, and it's been rainy early in the week, but today is super.
Good.
Super.
Good. So opening week of baseball, man. You know, have you been following any of it?
I have.
And what are your thoughts so far?
Well, the Giants better get going.
Yeah.
Yeah, they had.
I think Colorado's a good club.
Yeah.
Get David Dahl back, they'll be even better.
Oh, yeah, he's going to be a stud for them.
Yeah, I agree. Have you ever in your time in baseball, Madison Bumgarner, opening day, 2 home runs?
You ever see anything like that?
Anything like that with the pitchers?
Well, no one else, but Tony Cloninger did it against the Giants. He hit 2 grand slams one year.
Wow.
Oh, jeez.
Not opening day, but he did hit 2 grand slams, and both guys are from North Carolina.
That is true. And that's where you're at, right?
Yes, sir.
There's a little pride in there in that for you. That's cool. So, do you have any favorite opening day memories? Is there like an opening day that really stands out for you?
Well, the first year I managed in the big leagues, opening day was 1967, and I have a picture with Walter Alston and myself at home plate, and I think we beat the Dodgers 4-1 that day, and that was so important to get off to a good start like that. You know, you always want to win as quick as you can and as often as you can, but against a good Dodger club, I thought it really helped make my day. I know that.
And that was back in the day when the tradition was Cincinnati. That's where the baseball season started.
Was opening day.
Exactly.
You know, of course,
they always had a big parade down Fountain Square and to the ballpark, and that was. They were the first team for many years to play an opening day game.
You know, and a lot of people still recognize that, you know, I mean, it starts a couple days earlier now, which I kind of wish it went back to Cincinnati. I mean, that's tradition.
It is tradition.
That's
what we're all here for anyway.
But, you know, what did the players take part of that parade?
No.
Okay.
No.
It was all fans.
No, they did not.
And so
But it was a big festivity day in Cincinnati for many years.
Right.
You know, this year they had 3 games last Sunday, 1, 4, and 7 o'clock, I think.
Yep. Yeah. They had 3 games.
Night.
That was it.
Yeah. And so.
But that's the change in face of baseball.
And that's okay. I think to a point that's okay. I mean, they need to kind of keep up.
Yeah.
And so, hey, what's your take on the intentional walk deal now?
Oh, yeah.
Where you know you don't even have to throw a ball.
Well, I guess they're going to use it, so it's okay. It's okay. You know, that's just a minor thing. That's to satisfy some of the people who think the game's too slow.
Yeah,
if it's too slow, don't go.
There you go. I mean, that is the truth right there. You know, I think the game is perfect the way it is.
It always has been in my mind, yeah.
You know, baseball is different. It's the only sport that does not use a clock. And
they're going to start.
Yeah,
they're going to start with those pitchers.
I mean, you got to expect as a baseball fan, if you're going to go watch a Yankees-Red Sox game, you're going to be in for 4 hours.
Yeah, 3.5, 4 hours. Solid,
and that's just part of the deal. I mean, leave it alone.
Now, Dave,
right.
Dave, here's a bigger rule change recently that probably resonates a little more with you. There was the Buster Posey slide, the no collision at the plate rule, and then the Chase Utley thing at second base, the takeout slides. Those seem to actually have an impact on the play of the game. And to me, it seems like it takes away from the intensity a little bit. But you spent years witnessing the good and the bad of it. What's your take on that?
I didn't understand why they did that.
Mm-hmm.
The collision at home plate, that's always been part of the game. And, you laud catchers who know how to block the plate.
Right.
I remember one of the best ones was Ed Bailey and Mike Socia are two that stand out in my mind, who and Norm Charlton, a pitcher for the Reds one time, made a slide into home plate that upset Socia. They scored the run, and it gave. I think that was in 1990 when they had the Nasty Boys, and Norm Charlton was one of them. And it was a big play, and a hell of a play on his part.
Well,
but
I know
what a great guy he was. He was not only a good pitcher, but a good person.
Right.
And a great competitor. Loved him.
Well, the takeout slide at second is really the big one for me because, growing up playing ball, you were taught to slide through that base. You were taught if you're going to be out, you kill the throw.
And as a defensive player, you were taught how to avoid that slide.
Yeah, you slide.
Exactly.
The crow hop, exactly.
Yeah.
The catcher one, the one that comes in my mind is Pete Rose blowing up Ray Fosse in the All-Star game.
Yeah.
And
Frank Robinson and Darrell Spencer were the best I can remember who taken out guys on double plays.
Right.
Frank Robinson.
Frank Robinson and Darrell Spencer.
That's baseball.
That's the thing. And if you didn't get the guy, like Chase Utley hurts Ruben Tejada in the playoffs, right? Breaks his leg, total freak accident. But if he hadn't slid late, when he got back to the dugout, the coach would have said, "What are you doing?
Right.
Why didn't you slide? That's what you're taught to do. You break up the double play." So
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But hey, you and I talking all till milking time's not going to change it. They're going to do it their way, the new powers of baseball.
Right.
And but we don't have to like it.
That's right.
Not.
That's right.
Just like you said, hey, learn how to get out of the way.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, have you heard Goose Gossage over the last couple of years has made quite a few interesting statements regarding how the game has changed and
softened.
Who runs the game and the style, and it's what do you say? Rotary baseball now is what he said. We're playing rotary baseball. So, do you agree with that sentiment? Not necessarily everything he said, but the idea that it's just more of a mathematical, methodical thing than it is the game it used to be.
Well, yeah, probably, but hey. Just like I said, you and I talking about it, they're not going to change it, but that we don't have to like it.
Right.
But, I've tested positive for baseball fever, and I'm not going to try to cure it.
Yeah.
I'm right there with you.
It is what it is. Yeah. Whether you like it or not, that's what the rules are, and go play. I think back to the yesteryear of when I was growing up, and when you had people taking out people, that was a part of the game. You had pitchers throwing at hitters, it was a part of the game. You did something to piss somebody off. It's a part of the game, man. It regulates itself. And it doesn't make it right or wrong. That's just the way it is. And
those unwritten rules and all that kind of stuff.
New rules. That's all. new commissioner, new everything, new owners.
And it boils down to the money. I mean, there's so much money invested in baseball that they think they have to protect these players.
Well, and that's why there's all this. That's why the quote-unquote rotary baseball thing has come up.
Absolutely.
There's played on paper now.
Well, there's so many good players today.
Oh yeah,
that too. Yeah.
So many good players.
Can you imagine somebody like Mike Trout when you were managing with the Reds? I mean, I know that there were great five-tool players in that day, but man, I mean, somebody like Mike Trout, what could he have done, in the 60s or 70s? I mean, it's
crazy to see.
The same thing that Clemente and Billy Williams and those top players did.
Yeah.
Stargell, Frank Robinson. It's the same thing that they did. Stan Musial.
Yeah.
Yeah, hey, there's great players in every era.
There is.
I'm a little bit older than you guys, and I'm fortunate to see a lot of them.
Right.
But hey,
don't
tell me that Clemente couldn't do what Trout's doing.
That's true.
Yeah.
Who was the greatest that you've seen?
Well, I saw Willie Mays at the end of his career, but in 1966, when I came home from my first year in the big leagues, I was asked that question, and there's no doubt that Clemente was the best that I saw.
Yeah.
And he was in his prime. But Mays could do things unbelievable. Even when Mays still played at the Giants at the end of his career, I've seen him do things that outstanding.
Right.
Maybe that is the answer.
One night took second base on the ground ball to center field that he had hit to Mays. Mays was the first hitter up the next inning. He topped the ball to third base, stole second, next pitch stole third, high chopper to third base, he slid into home and pointed to Rose and said, "Hey, kiddo, that's the way you do it."
Oh, those are great. That's great.
True story. I saw it. It's unbelievable.
Speaking
he could do it all.
Right. Speaking of Pete, we're starting to see more Pete Rose, and I think it's a great thing.
He was commentating the World Series. Last year.
I love that World Series clip where he's talking hitting with Alex Rodriguez and Frank Thomas. I think was one of the greatest clips that I've seen. I mean, he simplified it. You need to step up in the box, choke up on the bat, choke down on the. I mean, he simplified it. I'm kind of on a borderline with Pete. There is no doubt that Pete Rose, his playing career, screams Hall of Fame.
He played to win every day.
Is it time to let bygones be bygones and let Pete into the Hall?
Well, I think as long as the commissioner is a pup out of Giamatti and Selig, and Vincent,
right,
that it'll never happen.
And that's a sad thing. I honestly think that's a sad thing because now you're starting to see like McGuire and who else we got?
Well, McGuire, Barry Bonds.
Barry Bonds, starting to get in and coach, coach baseball. I mean, if they're going to allow that, it's time to let Pete in.
I think so. And you talk about guys like Ryan Braun who got caught, covered it up, and then got caught again, and he sat out his 60 games and said, "All right, let's go."
Pete's never going to change. Pete's going to continue.
Who are you talking about?
Pete Rose. He's never going to change.
No,
He's going to continue to gamble.
Ryan Braun.
Ryan Braun, where he got busted for PEDs.
Oh.
And then got caught again.
Yeah.
And he lied about it.
That was brushed on the carpet pretty quickly.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. And like I said, Pete Rose, definite Hall of Famer if you look at his playing career, one of the greatest ever.
But he broke the rules, though.
Man,
a lot. He broke them over and over again.
He did. But it's been 20 plus years now.
As a Phillies fan, I'd like to see him there.
You know,
but that's
so
a
when you see Pete on TV, what are your thoughts? I mean, he was a young pup with you.
You coached him for 6 years, didn't you?
Yeah, I was with him 10 different times. 10 different times.
What type of? I mean, we know what type of player he was. He was intense. No. You know.
Well, Pete always came to the ballpark ready to play. Always ready to play. Great attitude, and he was always, I saw him win 2 batting titles in '68 and '69. One time on the next to the last day of the season in '69, he had to get a bunt base hit the last time at bat to win the '69 batting title.
Wow.
Whatever it took, hey, he was phenomenal. That's all.
Well, he's a competitor.
Hits, you got to give him a lot of credit.
Absolutely. No, I totally agree.
And he didn't get hurt very much. He stayed off the disabled list. I can remember on one 15-day disabled list when he dove for a ball and hurt his thumb in Dodger Stadium. That's about the only time I ever remember him ever missing any time.
And what do you think his secret was? I mean, he played hard all the time.
Yeah.
I mean, he knew how to slide. He knew how to take care of his body, number one.
And he was kind of built for it, I think, too.
And so, I mean, that's the key.
And he never got hit on the wrist or hands or anything, to put you out, because if your hands are hurt, it's tough to play baseball.
Right.
Yeah. Those
and
wrists.
He never got any kind of injury except that thumb injured at one time. And he was in some collisions, too. But he was pretty strong.
Well, he was a big guy.
And always in shape.
Right.
Very much in shape.
And that was before. I mean, that was early. Baseball was different back then. They didn't have your strength thing.
When he hurt his thumb.
They didn't have the strength and conditioning coaches, and your trainers were a little bit different. And it was different back then. You know, money was different.
Oh yeah, they didn't have all the medical expertise that you have today. No way.
Right.
No.
Spit on it and go play.
Yeah.
Yeah. Rub dirt on it.
Yeah, that's when they truly were Iron Men. I mean, you had to
was
be.
Too. You get that many hits and play 23 years. That's pretty good.
That is true.
Yeah, it's about as good as it gets. Yeah.
Do you have a favorite Pete Rose moment?
Do I?
Yeah.
Well, hey, every time he showed up was a Pete Rose moment. As far as I'll tell you, one time in Macon, Georgia, we traveled in station wagons. He and Tommy Helms rode in the back seat, looking backwards.
Huh.
So it was his brilliant idea to climb out the back window, crawl up on the luggage rack, and put his hands and arms over in front of the driver. If something would have happened, you'd have never heard of Dave Bristol. They'd have fired me in a New York minute.
Oh,
but that's a true story. Going 80 miles an hour I think we're going from Newport News to Savannah. I didn't know about it till later on.
Well, that's Pete Rose
for you. He sure did that.
Wow.
And crawl back in it without getting hurt. Scared the driver to death, one of our pitchers.
Oh, jeez. I can imagine.
Looking at Pete Rose upside down. Try that on for size.
Holy cow. Talk
about old school hazing, huh?
Man.
That's a whole nother level.
Absolutely.
Another time you're at Macon, we were playing Greenville, South Carolina, a farm club of the Dodgers. He was 0 for 2 the first inning and ended the game 5 for 7.
That's the hit king.
Wow.
And Tommy Helms out-hit him that year 340 to 330. Go figure.
And that pissed him off.
Huh?
I said, that probably pissed off Pete.
No, they were best of friends.
That's funny. That's funny. What else you got? You got another
Well,
Joe?
so you spent some time with the Braves. You went to the Brewers and the Giants, too, as a manager, if I'm correct.
Yeah, I was with Pete in Philadelphia in 1983 also.
Right, you were a base
And then
coach over there.
We were talking about the 83 Phillies earlier.
Yeah, I'm a big Phillies fan, so yeah, I know they lost that
He
one.
was
but
good. He was good in Philadelphia, and he was fun to coach for. He
Was
would
he?
ask your opinion, and Tommy Helms ran the club from the bench, but I was coaching third. But Pete was, and all that year, that was the year '89 when he got in trouble.
Yeah.
Right.
The story broke in spring training, but it never affected his managing.
No.
And he managed that club for 4.5 years and finished second every year. And when that story broke in St. Petersburg during spring training about the gambling thing, you should have seen how many reporters were at the St. Petersburg ballpark. But hey, it didn't bother his man. He handled the press. He gave them answers. Always had a story for them. He's a reporter's dream.
Yeah.
Right.
Because he can give you very factual figures and stuff about baseball. They loved him. Still do.
Yeah.
He's always got stories.
He
And
does.
They're factual, very factual. He knows what he's talking about.
And that goes back to that clip from the World Series where he's talking hitting. I mean, I sat there amazed because, it was like, oh my gosh, it is so freaking simple, move up in the box, move back in the box, choke up on the
I
bat.
thought that was great. It all those two guys, they didn't know what to say.
They didn't.
Yeah.
They absolutely, it mystified them, because hitting, now it's complicated.
It's way more complicated.
It's way more
than that.
complicated. There's people that are overthinking. And Pete, the hit king, simplified it.
just choke it
and
up,
so,
yeah.
you can't discredit what he says because he is the all-time hits leader.
He knows what he's talking about.
He knows what he's talking about.
Well, and any team,
And
I
being
think.
a switch hitter helped him also.
Oh, yeah, that never hurts. So
That really helped him.
So when you were with the Phillies, there were some other greats on that team. You got to see Steve Carlton. You got to see
Mike Schmidt.
One of my favorites is Mike Schmidt, of course. I think Boone was still the catcher.
Booney was still there.
Tug McGraw.
Yeah.
Any of those guys leave a strong impression on you?
Any of those guys what?
Did they leave a strong impression on you? Maybe something happened.
Yeah.
Any good Mike Schmidt
Steve
stories?
Morgan, Perez, and
Yeah.
Tony Perez, Morgan, Rose, and Perez were all on that team.
Oh yeah, Morgan
Yeah.
ended up over there too.
and,
Yeah.
the one guy that really impressed was the way Gary Maddox played center field.
Yep.
That was the other guy I was going to bring up. Yeah. Not many people outside of Philly know him.
What a great guy and what a good pitcher and how strong an individual Steve Carlton is.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
One of the best of all time.
Oh, easily.
Lefty.
Easily.
Yeah. Hard. Yeah. Lefty.
I remember, growing up, I grew up in Kimberly, Idaho, and so we had WTBS.
Okay.
And so I was a Braves fan because that was the only team that we can watch on a daily basis.
That's too bad, Norm.
And then a
Who
year
was
later, the Atlanta Braves. The Atlanta Braves.
Yeah.
And so we had WTBS, so the only team we got to watch on a daily basis was the Braves. So I became a Braves fan. But I remember those 83 Phillies. I mean, I remember watching, the Braves and the Phillies battle it out. I mean, Michael Jack Schmidt was...
Michael Jack, yeah.
I mean, he was a beast. Good defensively. He can hit.
Yeah, 8 or 9 gold gloves.
That team was fun to watch.
Oh, yeah. I watched the highlights. Of course.
Oh yeah, and of course the Atlanta Braves back then, they were not very good.
Yeah.
Of course we had Dale Murphy, who was my favorite player growing up, and of course he won the '82 and '83 Most Valuable Player.
Right.
But man, I remember some of those battles. I remember watching McGraw and Carlton and Maddox and.
Were there still two divisions in each league at that point?
There was. You had the East and the West,
right,
and the Braves were in the West. With the LA Dodgers.
So they weren't in the Phillies division.
They weren't in the Phillies division.
Okay.
No, them and the Reds, they were in the West.
Gotcha.
Yep.
Right. You're right.
Yep. Right. Never could figure out why the Braves were in the West, but oh well. That was good times. I mean, and I remember it like it was yesterday because we had Sanford and Son would come on before the game, and then Atlanta Braves baseball.
Right.
Ernie, who do we have? We had Ernie Johnson, Skip Carey, and Pete Van Wieren would call the games.
Pete Van Wieren.
Yeah.
Yeah. The 2 years I was in baseball, one of the toughest jobs I had in baseball was knowing when to take Necro out.
I bet.
Right.
Yeah.
Because, he could walk the bases loaded with that knuckleball and then turn around and strike the guy,
right.
all the guys out.
Would you say he had the best knuckleball of all time?
He and Hoyt Wilhelm.
Hoyt.
Yeah.
Yep.
Wilhelm, too.
I mean, in my time, I don't know about all time, but, Dutch Leonard and some of those guys before me. But Necro and, they like to play catch with you and hurt you.
They throw that knuckleball, man, and you can't catch it. Holy crap. Wow.
Well, and it's not very prominent anymore. I mean, you got R.A. Dickey throws the knuckleball.
You got a couple.
You got Stephen Wright.
Yeah.
And then Wakefield's gone, but Wakefield was kind of the token knuckleballer for...
It's a lost art. Yeah. I mean, it definitely is. And, R.A. Dickey, I mean, it's knuckleball, but it's kind of a morphed knuckleball. It's not a true traditional knuckleball. But...
Well, Necro he's helped Wakefield and...
right.
And R.A. Dickey. They go to him for help.
Well, you go to the best.
I mean, hope they do.
Yeah, absolutely.
And the other guy, another guy that is an announcer for some club, right-hand knuckleballer with the Dodgers. He's an announcer. Huh?
Oh, it's killing me.
I don't remember call his name right now, but
I know who you're talking about. I know who you're talking about.
That's on the tip of my tongue. Dodgers.
Brian's looking it up. Yeah.
But they go to Knuckle all the time. He'll help. He gives help to anybody that wants to learn about the knuckleball.
It's a beautiful thing. I mean, it's a bear to hit, but man,
and harder to catch.
To catch. You just don't know where that sucker's going to go.
Josh Tolley with the Blue Jays had a job strictly because he caught R.A. Dickey's knuckleball last year. They had three catchers on the roster just because they needed one to catch his knuckleball. Yeah.
Candiotti.
Tom Candiotti.
Candiotti.
Tom Candiotti, yeah. He threw a good one.
Yeah.
He threw a good one.
Yeah.
And it's hard to succeed off of that just because of how slow it is. And once they get the timing right, if you don't mix it up on them, that's it.
Yeah, it's like I said, it's a lost art. So Dave, so you're liking the Rockies. Who do you see? I know it's early, but if you had to pick somebody to go to the World Series, who would be your World Series picks this year?
Well, the pitching coach with the Dodgers is one of my closest friends. I pull for him, not so And then I know one or two guys on the Rockies. The boy that's the short guy for them now, Greg Holland, who came back from Tommy John. He's got 4 saves already.
Wow. The Rockies are playing well.
He's from here in Western North Carolina, and Darren Holmes he's from here. But they got, and Asheville is a Rockies farm club,
right?
Mm-hmm. And I see them over there. So
how far is Asheville from you?
About an hour and a half.
Okay, so not too bad.
No. That's that and Chattanooga, the closest major league teams. I mean, minor league teams. Yeah.
So now are you North Carolina born and bred?
I was born in Macon, Georgia, but as soon as I got out of the hospital, all my family was from North Carolina.
Who
where
is
I've always lived.
Who would you say is the greatest baseball player to ever come out of the state of North Carolina?
That's a good one.
Probably Enel Slaughter.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
And Bumgarner's not going to be too far behind when his career's over.
Good God. You know, I have a Madison I worked for the Giants for about 8 years, and Madison Bumgarner, I've got my Madison Bumgarner story is when he was in San Jose, and they were in, I want to say Visalia.
Okay.
And there was a possum. And so he ended up chasing this possum and catching it.
Jeez.
And, well,
just
I mean, you know, kind of North Carolina, kind of their woods. That's food sometimes. Just because, you know, everybody else was kind of freaking out about it.
He's like, oh, I got
Matty
it.
was like, Matty's a different guy.
Yeah.
I love him. I love him, and he's true to his roots. And he's super. He is definitely. I mean, you got to kind of throw him in right now as the best pitcher that in the playoffs. I mean, right now.
In the playoffs, yeah.
Right now.
Yeah, you can't argue that. Kershaw's been better as in the regular season, but Bumgarner has been an absolute stud.
Not too far behind. I mean, he's a stud, and he'll, you know, as he goes, the Giants will go. And, you know, right now they're off to a pretty poor start.
Well, that's a shame he hits 2 home runs.
Good God.
And
loses the game.
Get a win opening day.
There was a story that I heard that Bochy was looking at a pinch hitter and putting a game, and Bumgarner had told him, he goes, I'm ready to go.
Yeah.
You know, it's crazy.
Sure.
It's crazy to think of him as a pinch hitting option.
Yeah.
And it's legit, though.
It's going to happen. We're going to see more of it, you know, based on
Did he
bench.
win yesterday?
No, the Giants.
I don't
He
think
lost a 2-1 game to the Padres.
Yeah, they lost 2-1.
Was he the losing pitcher?
I believe so.
I hadn't seen the paper yet.
I believe so.
They, the D-backs kind of got to him on opening day a little bit. I mean, even though he got to them too, but it's tough when you go.
Well, it's that bullpen again.
Right.
Yeah. They
had the game won.
They can't seem to figure that thing out.
He tied it back up, and then they lost it in the extra inning.
Well,
the ninth inning.
Yeah.
I thought they.
But you think they got beat again yesterday?
Yeah, they did. They lost 2-1.
Okay.
Yep. Which is, you know, I mean, a well-pitched game, you know, I mean.
Well, you never think it'd be 3 home runs hit off Kershaw either.
No, that is true.
Yeah, no kidding.
That is true.
That's unreal.
Yeah. I still like the Giants. I still like them to win the West, and they'll pick it up. We'll see.
There's no bias in that, huh, Norm?
None at all. None at all. It's easy. Dodgers will be there. I mean,
the Cubs are pretty good.
Cubs are the team to beat. There's no doubt about that.
Absolutely the team to beat.
There's no doubt about that. Yeah. I don't have them going to the World Series, but I still think that they are there. You know, and of course, you know.
Well, you know, Joe Madden almost outmanaged that game. You know, he almost cost him just by playing with the bullpen too much. You know.
Yeah.
And I got a tremendous respect for how he works in the clubhouse with players and the kind of environment that he brings on. But boy, I thought Chapman's arm was going to fall off by the end of Game 6.
So if you're working a baseball camp, what is the best advice that you would give to the young kids today?
Leave their parents at home.
Hey, that's a good one for me.
I like that.
I like it. No, absolutely.
Hey, for hitters, always, like Ted Williams said, always be ready to hit the fastball.
Right.
Yep.
The curve is slower, the slider's slower, you can adjust, but you can't adjust to the hummer. You better be ready to hit it. And, you know, for pitchers, you know, always warm up properly, have the right grip and everything.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, control one pitch before you try to control 5.
Right.
Yeah, one at a time kind of thing.
I think, and take care of yourself physically. That's the thing I'd say.
Well, there's a lot
Don't
more.
try to, and 8-year-olds just need to have fun. They don't need to be
Exactly.
overcoached.
Exactly. I'm coaching my 8-year-old nephew this year, and it's the second year that I've had him. And the reason why I'm coaching is because of that. People would, I saw people, they're 6 and 7, and they're trying to go way too advanced for them.
Yeah.
And, like we had baseball tryouts yesterday, man, and I could see a lot of those kids were nervous to do the hitting portion of it. And I'm like, guys, hitting is simple.
And you're 7.
Just step up there and just swing away and have fun.
Right.
Yeah.
And I might adjust their feet a little bit, but back grip at this point, I just want them swinging the bat and getting comfortable with swinging that bat.
Getting used to the sweet spot.
And I had
see
like
a lot of young kids, and I threw out the first pitch 2 weeks ago at the Little League team here. They swing and don't use the bottom half of their. You've got to pivot on the back foot.
Yep.
You can't leave it stationary.
Yep.
Pivot when you swing.
It's all in the lower body, yeah.
If you understand what I mean.
Oh,
on that
absolutely. Squash. We call it squashing the bug.
Squashing the bug, yeah.
toe. Yeah.
Yep. No.
Because if you lock your hips, the power comes from the feet up.
Right. Yeah.
Well, and the thing I see with the...
And, just little stuff like that, proper time. And they have more fun doing it.
Absolutely.
If they know how.
And see, in
And then leave
baseball,
them alone. Let them, they'll get it.
and baseball is such a game that, you're failing and you're a good hitter.
Right.
You're hitting 350,
3 for 10.
And so baseball is already a mental, already in your head,
You have to accept the
and
failure
so it's like,
within it,
with these kids, exactly. I'm working with these kids on, okay, you know what? Okay, so you hit a ball, you got out, but you hit it right on the button, and the guy got lucky and he caught it.
Yeah.
What's wrong with that?
My coach used to tell me, he said A-Rod goes 0 for 4, Manny Ramirez goes 0 for 4.
Exactly.
But they go 3 for 4 tomorrow. That's
exactly.
The thing. Yeah.
I was pretty proud yesterday because I had 4 or 5 kids at the tryout that played for me last year. 3 of them struggled with hitting last year, and 1 of them didn't get a hit until the last game of the year.
Oh, wow.
And so, but all 3 were swinging the bat and they were making contact with the ball. I could see a big difference in their confidence, and that was the big thing.
Right.
And so, I'm like, holy crap, guys, where did that come from? And they looked at it, we remembered what you taught us last year and just going up and having
that's a
fun.
good feeling,
and,
yeah.
And I'm like, it's simple. It's simple.
Oh, that's good. I had to make you feel good.
Oh, absolutely. And it is. I want to let them know that, you're 8.
Right.
You're 8.
Have fun.
Baseball at this time is to have fun. If you decide you want to continue to play baseball, when you get older into high school, it gets a little bit different. Then it
way
gets a little
different,
more
yeah.
technical. But right now, it's all about having fun, being comfortable, learning how to catch and throw, being comfortable at the plate. You know what? As long as if the ball isn't over your head or in the dirt, dude, if it's close, I want you swinging.
Yeah.
I don't want you to watch a pitch go by. I want you swinging.
Yeah.
Strike out swinging at good pitches.
Yeah, we'll talk about discipline once the pitcher knows how to throw.
Exactly.
Hey, Norm, you said something right there that's a forgotten art. How to play catch.
It is.
Yeah.
I'm telling you.
We were talking about
How
that.
to, catch and throw the ball. That's a big thing, I'm telling you.
We were talking about that yesterday, and that is one of the biggest things that I've noticed, in my 22 years with the McMinnville Parks and Recreation, working with the baseball, is that these kids now, the younger kids, they don't know how to play catch. They don't know how to throw the ball right.
I know it.
So we're going back. We're going back to the basics this year. We're going.
Oh yeah.
We're going to be basic, and we're gonna play catch and play catch and play catch and
Well,
play.
you're doing them a big favor.
And play
You're
pepper.
doing them a big
We're
favor.
going to introduce them to pepper.
Yep.
You know, these kids have no idea what pepper is. You know, but back in your day, Dave, I mean, I've even noticed, like Salem Kaiser Volcanoes, for example. You go to minor league games, you don't see a lot of teams playing pepper. You see a few.
That used to be how you kill the time.
No.
You see a few, but back in your day, that was a given. You guys always played it.
That's what Rose says that all the time. He said, and he said that in that clip you were talking about in the World Series. He played pepper all the time.
Yeah. All the time.
Yeah.
You know, hand-eye coordination. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Makes me think of Bull Durham. You know, you throw the ball, you hit the ball.
You catch
the ball.
Absolutely, it's a simple game.
That's the game, and if you're not teaching it, they're not going to learn. You know,
right?
That's the thing.
Hey, Dave, thanks for coming on. We'll do this again.
You bet. Thank you. Anytime.
We love.
Have a good day.
Hey, you too, Dave Bristol. Thank you, Dave.
Great talking to you, Dave.
Thank you.
All right, so Brian, you're grinning over there. What are you thinking here?
You know, going back to the basics.
You know, there was
a game,
and I shared it with you. I think there was an article somebody came out with, and I posted it on Facebook last week or the week before, and it talked about hitting and catching, or catching and playing catch. That these kids today, they have no clue. You know, I mean, even as you get older in the like JBO area, a fly ball, dude, a can of corn should be caught.
Right.
There's no reason why.
Well, the thing is,
kids can't catch them.
These kids think they need to specialize at 10 years old.
I know.
They think they need to be a pitcher from 10 years old for the rest of their lives. And that's where I see a big problem with the injury with these kids. You know, the kids are having their second Tommy John by the time they're 19. And it's because you're in a small town and you're the best pitcher around.
You're going to pitch.
Your coach is going to throw you every inning of every game.
Right. I have my philosophy. So what we did last year is we do pitch counts in the McMinnville Parks and Rec. We go by age. So last year, 7-year-olds, the pitch count was 35. So once a kid hit 35, he was done. And so we, very seldom did we ever have kids go 35.
Yeah.
Because I always try to pitch, if I have a kid who's on, I'll let him go as long as he can. So, but if he's starting to struggle, if he's starting to throw balls in the dirt, you can see his arms getting tired. There's times we pitch 4 or 5 kids a game.
There's still the cap, right? No more than 70 pitches for a kid under 12 or something like that.
Yes.
That's an Oregon thing.
And so, and I'm a firm believer of developing players. And so, if I've got a roster, I got a roster of 13, at the beginning of the year, I'm saying, okay, here's the deal. My kids, you will play an infield position and an outfield position every game. Okay? If you want to pitch,
You'll pitch
as long as we think you're ready. And so we don't want you to go out and embarrass yourself by not being able to get the ball to the plate. So we'll help you strengthen your arm.
Yeah,
and
you don't want to hurt your confidence.
We'll teach them about how to throw properly. We'll get a band or two, help them strengthen the arm and stuff like that. And we've had kids, last game of the year, all of a sudden they're getting the ball. Okay, it's time for you to pitch. And they might walk 4 or 5, hit 4 or 5.
But it's Little League.
But exactly, you want to build the confidence.
You get it out of your system then,
And so,
one guy I'd like to actually pick his brain on is Fergie Jenkins on this, because he threw, I think, some 3,000 innings. He almost never got hurt.
Right.
And he was one of those guys. He had velocity, but he stayed in shape. And I wonder what he did to do that and be so successful and throw hard. Jamie Moyer, same kind of thing,
Nolan Ryan.
These guys threw
a lot of those old guys,
and they threw a lot, and they didn't get hurt. And what is it that kids are being taught now, and how are they being used now that they weren't before? That's breaking their arms down, because there has to be something.
So a baseball scout once told me that pitching wise is teach the curveball, sliders. They're okay, but you don't necessarily want your high schooler throwing curveball and slider. You want them to learn
fastball, changeup,
learn how to throw your fastball at different speeds, different arm angles, and learn to locate.
Right.
Learn how to throw that fastball on the outside corner. Learn how to throw that on the inside. Learn how to throw inside. Learn how you own that plate.
Exactly.
Learn how to throw inside.
Well, and that gets into the whole you can't pitch inside on guys anymore and stuff like that.
The hell if you can't, dude.
Right.
I'm pitching inside.
Yeah.
I'm teaching my kids to pitch inside. If they hit a kid, they hit a kid. I'm sorry. It's part of the game.
Not on purpose. Yeah, no,
absolutely.
For sure. I mean, that's the thing. And I actually got to talk to Fergie one time and kind of ask him a couple questions. And he said, it just comes down to how soon they start throwing hard. Mm-hmm. They shouldn't be throwing hard they shouldn't be throwing hard at 12, 13.
Right.
Learning a curveball.
No.
When I was in Little League, our pitcher had a knuckle curve at 12.
That's crazy.
You shouldn't throw a knuckle curve.
Not.
It was a great pitch. Don't get me wrong. I was the catcher and I loved it. Well, I hated it, but but you're not supposed to be throwing that at 12 years old.
Right.
That's bad for your elbow. You're still growing, So I think if they gave, like you said, you play an infield, you play an outfield, you pitch a couple innings a game. In high school, you got 2 fastballs and a changeup.
Yep.
And then they're like, oh, this kid's got an arm. You draft him, teach him how to throw a slider and a curve once he's once he's done growing from a professional.
Yes.
That's, work on location, work on working the count, things like that as a kid. That's how you avoid injury, in my opinion. That's,
arm, taking care of your arm. And we'll have a couple of people coming on the show here later date, Bill LeSueur, who's a muscle therapist, and chatted with him numerous times, haven't had him on the show, and he'll talk about the UCL and proper how to properly work and strengthen it. And then Frank Baumholtz, who's quote the clubhouse trainer, he'll come on and talk to us about proper arm care along the way. And
I've watched one of those. I watched a YouTube of a UCL of a Tommy John surgery. That is brutal.
It's brutal.
It is brutal.
It is brutal. Yes.
And
it happens way too often, and it's unnecessary in a lot of cases.
Well, and there's cases of parents going to coaches or going to doctors and saying, "Well, he's going to need it in 2 years anyway.
Get it over with.
Let's get him his 2 miles an hour extra on the fastball now."
Stupid.
That's child abuse.
Stupid.
That's pretty.
It is. I mean,
it really is.
Absolutely.
It's for the wrong reasons. It's personal interest. You're putting the kids' health at risk.
Once again, Joe Piazza. Joe, we're going to do this again.
Oh, I can't wait. I look forward to it, Norm. This has been great.
Captain of the ship, Brian Erickson over there. Would that make me Tennille? If you're the captain, am I Tennille?
Muskrat love.
All right, Joe. Hey, let's have some fun here, Brian.
Oh, now we're gonna have fun.
We got it. So Joe,
you wouldn't let us play
Joe?
Pepper.
I'm 21.
Okay, Joe's 21. So we're not gonna hit him up with 80s music. You are?
Yeah.
And so let's go
again.
Kid 21 again.
Oh, you're gonna embarrass me now. What do we got?
So we're gonna go baseball movies.
Okay.
Okay, and not necessarily. Okay, let's go. Your top baseball movie.
Major League.
Brian.
Bull Durham.
That's number 2 for me. Yeah.
Man, Bull Durham would have been it for me too. But I'm gonna go. What?
Bastards of Baseball.
Bastards of Baseball. No, I'm going to go Bingo Long's Traveling All-Stars and Motorcades. Have you ever watched that one?
I haven't, no.
Mid-70s movie. Billy D. Williams, Richard Pryor.
Really?
Hilarious.
All right.
Hilarious.
I'm going to have to watch that.
Absolutely.
I love some Pryor, so yeah.
Second favorite, Bull Durham. Brian?
The Natural.
Ooh.
Yeah. Oh, no one's even mentioned The Sandlot yet.
The Sandlot just had 24th birthday here this week.
Yeah.
Can you believe that? 24? You're killing me.
3 years older than him.
I know. And The Sandlot 2 was such a letdown.
Yeah, terrible.
Yeah.
It was bad.
No. You're not going to win them all,
Most underrated baseball movie?
That's a tough one. I might have to pass.
Okay.
Major League 2, actually.
Okay.
Underrated, huh?
Underrated.
Major League 2 was underrated.
Knuckleball.
Ooh.
Knuckleball?
I'm going to go Sugar.
Yeah?
Have you seen Sugar?
I've seen it. It's been a while, but yeah, I saw Sugar. Did anyone see Trouble with the Curve? Was that any good?
I heard it was bad.
It was
You saw it?
Yeah, it was
Was that the one with John Hamm, or was that the one that Clint Eastwood produced?
Clint Eastwood.
Yeah.
What's the one with Drew Barrymore, Red Sox, and late night host?
Yeah. Jimmy Fallon. Perfect pitch.
Perfect pitch.
That was okay.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
I'm going to go, we've all seen 42.
Oh.
Did you ever watch the Jackie Robinson story, the original one? Have you seen that one?
I have that. Yeah, I have both of them. I have the cinematic, and then I have the old one with footage of him and everything, yeah.
That one is amazing as well. I mean, we're talking 50s.
Right.
But, I mean, it's pretty, I mean, it's not too far off of 42. I mean, of course, you don't have the language and whatnot, but
I might have to recant now. Maybe 42 is my second favorite.
42 is awesome.
42 is fantastic.
And you need to be with us when we have Carl Erskine on.
Oh, yes, I do.
And I mean, it's one of the greats. He is one of our best people we've ever had on. Play the harmonica, anytime when you're talking Jackie Robinson.
Oh, it's a great.
And
to get some insight from people who were around that and saw what was going on.
Crazy. He talks about the move from Brooklyn to Los Angeles and about how TV was introduced into the whole baseball.
Right.
It's crazy because we don't look at that. We look at it differently because we've always had TVs, color TVs at that.
Yeah, even we have. TVs are all live, Joe.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah. Shocking.
I don't believe it.
Yeah. Once again, Joe Piazza, Brian, Norm. Hey, we are Clubhouse Chatter, and we are sponsored by Baseballism. Baseballisms.com. If you like my hat or my shirt, check them out. They got some great product. In Northwest Independent Baseball League, give Dwayne a call. Look him up, nwibl.org. Check him out. He also sells baseball bats. If you're looking to play in a summer league, he's your man. BaseballDudes.com. To be the best, you must train like the best. Chris Gazelle up there, Vancouver, Washington. Mitch Canham, building an athlete sports education, Base by Pros, basebypros.com. His dad, Mark Canham, does our shirts for us for Clubhouse Chatter, MDM Design. And we stream live at yamhilltoday.com. And if you have an idea of, give me something to a host. Give me a player that you want to be in for. If you have any suggestions of guests, shoot me an email, normbo18@gmail.com. You can find us on Twitter, Clubhouse Chatter 1T, Facebook, iTunes. Do a search, Clubhouse Chatter. You can find us. Hey, we are taking next week off. It's Easter. Happy Easter. We'll be back the following week. All right. Joe, Brian, thanks, guys.
Thanks for having me, Norm.
And we'll see you guys later.
That's all they say. I live a dream with nightmares and machines afraid to tell robotic rat wasting my life chasing this.